Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new books by indie authors. Your hostess for today's show is Rox Burkey. We do hope you enjoyed today's show.
Hey, hi, and welcome to the Indie Beacon Show. I'm Rox Burkey, and I am so delighted this evening to be having a conversation with Sharon Middleton about her new story. So welcome, Sharon.
Thank you, Rox. I'm delighted to be here this evening.
You know, you have been amazing with the amount of stories that you've been putting out, and I am so excited that book 7 of McCarran's Corner book is out. And that cover, oh my goodness. So Love You Forever is your latest, right?
Yes, ma'am, it is. It's my latest one, and I say it's my lucky number 7.
Oh, I like that. That is very, very cool. So your lucky number 7 is all about time travel as you're continuing with Elizabeth's story. So, you know, kind of let's give our audience a little, rough out about Elizabeth and where she fits into this wonderful series.
The series is about, it started with the McCarran Corner area, which is in North Georgia. And it started then with Marcus McCarran, Lily McCarran, let me think, Sassy Selk. Well, she was Sassy Winslow, who became Sassy Selk, and William Selk. Elizabeth is the daughter of Fancy by adoption. Fancy hits it and married in the McCarran's daughter. She's married a guy named Kirk O'Malley. And Elizabeth was Kirk's daughter by a previous relationship, and her mother had died in childbirth. So Fancy's adopted her. Later, they think Kirk's dead, and Fancy has come forward in time and died with Reluctant Duchess, and she has married Richard Winslow. And then Richard adopts Elizabeth. Oh, my families are so complicated. There's a little bit of a...
It's really fun. And part of the fun with your books is really around the time travel. So the time travel aspect is not an easy aspect to write about, but yet you seem to be doing it masterfully. So how do you get so good at traveling through time?
Probably because I want to. and at that, I've had, what I'd call the science nerds, the ones who really understand what time travel is supposed to be logically. And I'm, how do your people do this? They just fall through a hole in time. It's like there's this magic place in the meadow just before you get to the Jacks River Falls, and they fall down there and then they come up and that's where they are. But see, we couldn't do that in this book because she's moved to Egypt, and it's a long ways from McCarran's Corner. So I had to come up with a new way to transport her to another era.
So one of the things about this particular book is your cover has an unerring resemblance to Nefertiti. Was that by design?
Yes, it was. I've said in several books now that people think that she has an uncanny resemblance to Nefertiti. And here, I'll show. I found this painting and I bought it so that she could be the cover of this book. It's Egyptian, it's by an Egyptian artist. And it struck me, this is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is supposed to be part Egyptian. She's supposed to be part Black. She's a mixed race girl, part Irish because her daddy was an Irishman. And she marries this guy and moves to Egypt.
Nice. So Egypt is a tough area. Have you been to Egypt, or did you just have to do a lot of research?
I've done a lot of research on Egypt, and we're planning to go to Egypt next year.
Yay.
Hopefully in March. Yeah, I'm very excited.
I'm happy to carry your bags if you need that, Sharon.
Well, if Gary didn't want to go with me, I'll let you know. Because he does this kind of stuff, it's kind of like, I'm going to go, well, maybe you want to go. Well, I'm going to get my passport updated, and I'm going to buy my ticket, and I can go. And if you want to come, you come with me. And otherwise, I will find someone else to go to Egypt with me.
And now one of the things that's fascinating about this particular series is you've actually gotten several awards across all of the books. And I mean,
I have.
How does that feel?
Oh, that feels good. That is a kind of affirmation of what you're doing is right. Sometimes when you're not getting a whole lot of sales yet, I'm not that Diana Gabaldon girl, but you get recognition from people who review the books. It makes you feel good. So yes, I think everything to date has got an award. Heart of the Storm's cover is up here, but it doesn't come out till January. But already Love You Forever has been given 5 stars by Literary Titan and by readers favorite.
So, I mean, that's just, it's a remarkable accomplishment that you are so invested in this series and in this theme that you've created this family that obviously, you know, they can go anywhere and be anywhere. And that's pretty exciting. So how long did it take you to put together Love You Forever?
Love You Forever. I had started on Love You Forever before the McCarran's Destiny came out, which was in October last year. So I think in about March of 21, I had started working on Love You Forever.
So when you craft a book, do you have a lot of beta readers, or is it just, you know, family? How do you put that together?
It depends. I've got a couple of beta readers who read for me regularly. One of them is a lady in Canada that she reads my books, but I've never met her personally. Another one for this particular book is a woman whose father is from India, whose mother is from Italy, and she worships Isis. So she knows a lot about Egyptian mythology, Egyptian religions, and she proofread this a lot to make sure that I was getting all of those things right. It was interesting then that when they had the Ramses exhibit here in Houston in the spring and we went to see it, that one of the big things they had was part of Nefertari's tomb replicated. Nefertari is not the same queen. She's subsequent. She was married to Ramses II. But in a corner, I saw this little frog and I says, "It's Hecate." And the director of the exhibit says, "Yes, how did you know that?" And I said, "Well, she's in my book." Goddess of fertility, help mothers in childbirth. He says, "Yes, yes." He got very excited. Before we left that day, he said, "Are you coming to Dr. Hawass's lecture in 2 weeks?" I said, "Yes, we are." He says, "Well, you need to come on Sunday then, and I think I can let you meet him." And we did.
Oh, sweet. And you brought your book for him to
I brought my book and gave him a copy of the book.
Oh, you know, that's very
He's
nice.
looking at this book and he says, "Nefertari." He says, "Where's it supposed to be?" I said, "The Golden City." He says, "Ah, you know about the Golden City?" I said, "Yes, we do." "How do you know about it?" I said, "I read an article that you wrote." "Okay. I haven't found her yet," he says. He laid the book down. And I said, "But you will." He smiled enigmatically towards me. And Gary says, "If anybody can find her, it's you." Didn't say anything else about it. We had a little bit more conversation left because people were stacked up like cordwood waiting to talk to him. The next night at the lecture, he's talking about the Golden City. And he says, "And expect a big announcement in September because we believe that we have found Nefertiti's tomb and the tomb of her daughter, Ankhesenamun, who was married to Tutankhamun." I was jumping up and down and the work computer going, "Yes, yes, I knew it."
I mean, I think that's terrific. I think that you need to have, you know, a dozen books go along with him on the tour so he can sell them for you.
I mean to tell you, if the tour that we will go on, that I want to go on, he'll be on part of the tour, and he's going to be the director of the new Egyptian museum on the Giza Plateau.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect. And so
I know.
I hate to break the conversation, but we need to hear from our sponsor, Sharon. So if you'll just stick around, I want to talk a little bit more about the period of time with this book. So stay tuned.
Certainly.
Hi, my name is Elle Ballard, and I'm the founder of Women of the World Network, a supportive entrepreneurial community of multinational women. I'm excited to announce we have second series launching for our anthology, Recipes for Body, Mind, and Soul, on April 7th. If you'd like to participate in any of our future anthologies or just check out our community, visit womenoftheworldnetwork.com.
Welcome to B4R.store, a bookstore for indie readers and indie authors, where indie authors can earn their fair share from the books you purchase. We have a wide variety of genres that you can select from. We also have ebooks and paperbacks. You can select authors by their first names, and we also have music.
If you're interested in their city or country, we have that listed as well. If you are an author and would like to be on our bookstore, we have 3 options for you. There is a small minimal charge, or you can join our organization at authorsmarketing.org and learn how to better market and sell yourself. That is b4r.store, a bookstore for indie readers and indie authors.
Hi, I'm Charles Brakefield.
And I'm Rox Burkey.
Together, we write as Brakefield and Burkey.
Our techno thriller series is 12 books strong, with book 13, The Enigma Tracer, planned for 2022.
Techno thrillers are the cyber good guys versus today's darknet thugs.
We added our series prelude, Out of Poland, a 1939 historical novella, in 2021.
We also have 8 short stories available in family and women's contemporary genres, with more planned for 2022.
Please visit our website, enigmaseries.com, to learn more about why we say technology is today's weapon of choice. Thank you.
Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new books by indie authors. Your hostess for today's show is Rox Burkey. We do hope you enjoyed today's show.
Welcome back to the Indie Beacon Show, and I want to continue this fascinating conversation with Sharon Middleton on her book 7 of her McCarran Corner series, Love You Forever. So as Elizabeth's story and her moving all the way to Egypt, what year does this book actually take place in?
The book would, where she is in Egypt, would be about 3,500 years ago.
Okay.
Well, Akhenaten was the pharaoh of Egypt, and Nefertiti was his great royal wife, and the wife of Aten, the sun god.
Okay. So that's the time period that she's in the story?
That's the period that it is in the story when she goes back in time, yes.
Okay, and who is she trying to represent herself as in the story? Just out of curiosity.
Well, in the story, her soul has been snatched and taken back to reanimate Nefertiti. So her soul is inside Nefertiti, and everybody thinks she is Nefertiti.
There you go. So
she says at one point, I look in the mirror and I know it's not me, and I'm amazed because there is a really strong resemblance between us.
there you go. The other side of this book that's kind of interesting is there's kind of a romance side to this book. And so how does that play into it?
Well, the romance side is, for me, a big part of the book. She has fallen in love with this doctor named Dr. Areb Hotep. She met him 5 years ago. He was, in fact, the person who told her that she was suffering from this disease called Stargardt disease. Stargardt disease is a lot like macular degeneration, only it affects young people. And so she knows eventually her field of vision is becoming smaller and smaller, and eventually she's going to go blind. So 5 years ago, Ari asked her to marry him, and she wouldn't marry him then because she was being all altruistic and noble. And I can't marry you. You have to find a woman who can give you children and will always be there for you. But now he's come back into her life, and, she's going to grab it. You don't get second chances like this very often. Mm-hmm. When she's snatched back in time to go reanimate Nefertiti, Ari's in the present, and he's desperately trying to figure out, how can I get my wife back into her body? And there's several times that she awakens in the hospital and she'll say, Isis is going to bring me back once the baby's born. And they're like, what baby? But he keeps praying. He keeps hoping. He stays steady by her. And he's there when she does ultimately come back. At the same time, she has had in her prayers, when Akhenaten drags her over to the temple of the sun god and she's praying, she's had a message that she believes is from Isis, who she believes is the manifestation in Egypt of Mary, and tells her, get this baby born and you can go back to your love. And so that's a big chunk of the time is what's happening in Egypt and getting back to the man she loves. She comments that, how can he look so much like my Ari? How can Akhenaten look so much like my Ari? And they're so different, because Akhenaten was a religious fanatic. People think he was probably maybe insane. At the same time, people think he might have been a genius, because he was allegedly the first person to establish a monotheistic religion.
Oh, there you go.
Subsequently, they really tried to write his name out of history, because they called him the betrayer. He betrayed the ancient religions, betrayed their ability to believe in whoever they wanted to believe in.
So this is a really, not only is it time travel, but it's a delicious, ancient history study. So you're learning the whole time, but you're not learning like you're sitting in school, flipping pages and waiting for a test. You're actually learning as you're immersed in this fabulous story.
Thank you. That's always the goal. If I'm writing romances about the Revolutionary War or any other time, I want it to feel like you've really gone back there, that you can see what they're eating, how they're dressing, how they live on a day-to-day basis. And I don't want these perfect people, because nobody is perfect. So I want people with all their hiccups and glitches. And Akhenaten was an easy one to write about hiccups and glitches.
So the research that went into this, I mean, how much time did you have to spend to get those details as right as they are?
Well, I've read a lot about Egypt for a lot of years anyway. I just enjoy that study. And then with this, when I accidentally found this article that Dr. Hawass had written about the Golden City, then I started digging up everything I could find about that, and everything I could find about Nefertiti and Akhenaten. I had books and books and books about them. I've got a book over here about ancient Egyptian warfare.
Okay.
So I can't tell you how many hours I spent on it. You write, and when you can't write, you do research.
Very good. So because of all of the research that you did, I just beg the question of how much of that detail did you decide to exclude from the book? Because
Lord. Well, I mean, I think he had a harem of 300 women, so I couldn't put everyone's story in the book. I didn't talk about from the time he was a little boy being raised by his mother, who was Queen Tai, and his father, who was Amenhotep III. I think he was the third, or was that him? The previous Amenhotep, because he took that name initially when he was king as well, when he was pharaoh as well. I lost my train of thought.
So some of the detail that you left out of it, is it going to be safe?
When I wrote Beyond McCarran's Corner, I have a lot of detail in it, and one of the men who read the book, still to this day, will look at me and say, but what is a stomacher? So at some point I have to limit how much detail goes into things and what they're putting on and how they're dressing, so I can describe the clothing in more general terms, but I'm not going to go into detail by detail. There's enough detail about her clothes.
Yeah,
and her jewelry,
the artwork and the jewelry that they made during that period.
Yeah.
So intricate, and it was a fabulous kind of period. So what would you like to have happen with this book? I mean, how important are the reviews to you? Because I want people watching this to know exactly how important that is.
I don't think the average reader has any idea how important reviews are to the writer. If we don't get good reviews, our publishers don't keep publishing us. That's the number one thing. I've been very lucky, because Reagan Rothy at Black Rose Writing has been a big supporter of mine and has encouraged me. At the same time, I mean, how am I going to write about these people?
Right.
But their story's not done yet. I've still got some more of their stories ahead in my head. So it's,
so which one's next?
You got to have the reviews to keep getting the books published.
That's true.
Chloe O'Neill put in something on Facebook recently. She's a fabulous writer, that she wasn't sure there was going to be anything else in her Vampires of Chicagoland series because they weren't having enough sales in the newer books. And that's kind of tragic, because she's a fabulous writer. So I don't want to have to go totally independent at some point to finish getting the stories done, because I know there's at least 3 more books here to go out. I'm working on one of them now.
Is that the one that's coming out in October?
The one that comes out in January is a murder mystery, and I'm working on the sequel to that. And then I know there's at least one more beyond that one that's partially written now. But so the next one, this one's coming out in January, is called Heart of the Storm, and it's not called Eye of the Storm for a reason. You have to read it to find out why.
Right.
I might tell you later.
Oh, okay.
And then the one after that, I think right now is tentatively called Queen of Calabria.
Ooh. Okay.
And then
another perfect stopping point. We got to stop and listen to
okay.
it. When we come back, I want to know a little bit about where you're going to be and the next book. It'll be a short segment, but let's focus.
Okay.
All right, Sharon.
Okay, that sounds great.
Stay tuned.
Each and every one of us has a mission in life. Mine is to help people laugh through the good times and the bad. My name is Charlotte Canyon, and I am an author, a speaker, and a host on Indie Beacon Radio. If you need me to speak at an event or autograph my book, you can contact me at charlotte@charlottecanyon.com. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Authors Marketing International, a membership-based organization where members learn how to better market and sell themselves. Join us at authorsmarketing.org. Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new books by indie authors. Your hostess for today's show is Rox Burkey. We do hope you enjoyed today's show.
Back to the Indie Beacon Show. I'm here with Sharon Middleton. Sharon, I love this series. I think that this is just one fabulous series that I think that people just need to pick it up. So where are you going to be next? If people want to come see you, are you planning any events or anything?
I'm going to 2 book fairs in the fall. One is the East Texas Book Bash, and the other one, let me see, because I just did this yesterday and posted it. I'm going to go look at a picture so I get it right. Come on, Sharon. Don't take forever.
No, that's okay. While you're looking for that,
Well, darn.
you have a website, I know.
One is in October, one is in November, I believe, and I have them posted on the Beyond Reading group in Facebook.
Okay, very good. And so people can track you, know where you're going to go from Facebook. Don't you also have a website, though? I thought you had a website.
I did have a website. It kind of died a couple of years ago when I closed the law office. I need to start a new website. I post things on Twitter. I post things on Instagram. I post things on Facebook. I have a reading group on Facebook, and my readers give me a lot of ideas there.
Okay,
So I
on
post things
Facebook,
there because
what's your
that's the
handle on
loyal,
Facebook?
faithful ones. Pardon me?
What's your handle on Facebook, Sharon?
It's Sharon K, initial K, Middleton. And the reading group is Beyond Reading Group. I'm also have Sharon, initial K, Middleton, author. So look at those places. You can find me. You find me on Twitter, and you might or might not like my politics, but I tend to say more political stuff there than I do on Sharon K. Middleton on Facebook. I've learned my lessons.
So if people post to you through Messenger on Facebook, do you reply to them?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, I do. And in fact, in the back of my books, it has my email address.
Ah, even better. So you can get a personalized message
Right
from
there
Nico.
on the last page of my picture with the pretty
My
picture.
favorite picture. I love that picture.
I do too.
So on the last page,
That's why it's on all the books. I might have to put my hair back to that color.
it's adorable, and you have such a pretty smile.
Thank
But
you.
you can get a personal email. She'll tell you what's going on. where she's going to be, especially for these upcoming events. Because if you go to the event, you're going to have books there, right, Sharon?
Yes, I will. I will have books there.
And you're going to sell them, and you're going to
Oh
sell.
God, yes. I also, before the books come out, I usually have contests. And so I get Goodreads books away for the McCarran's Destiny and for Love You Forever. And before Heart of the Storm comes out, we'll have another Goodreads giveaway. And I usually do some kind of contest or giveaway at the Beyond Reading group too.
Sweet. So you need to follow and find Miss Sharon and stay tuned with her all the time. So that's a really, really good thing. The other thing is, do you have like a book bundle of several of your books together?
They do. They have a set of my books on Amazon that can come out as a set. I'm not sure if they're all in the series now or if it's the first 6 in the series. It'll take me just a second to see that.
Well, that's okay. People can find you on Amazon. It's very easy. And you certainly are right there. And you can add your reviews to her stories. And I mean, this is fabulous. I'm so excited for you. And I'm excited that you're going to get a new one out, a little different book in January.
It's different. It is different. You'll be reading along at it and you'll think, oh, it's romantic suspense, but it's really not. They don't stay together. It's that's part of the mystery. But
oh, well, don't give it away.
I'm not going to. Not any more than that.
All right, Ms. Sharon. I mean, you are always such a treat to chat with, and I appreciate it very much. So, folks, if you get a chance, go out and grab Sharon's book, Love You Forever, Elizabeth's Story. It can be read on its own, but man, it's so much richer when you read the entire series. And any last thoughts, Sharon, before we say goodnight?
No, I warn people, the first book's the only one I put in politics into it, and I learned my lesson. We don't put politics in books anymore. Well, it might be a little bit of politics about Yorktown and Patriots and the British, but that's a different issue together. The third book, which is the McCarran's Daughter, is a hard book. It's a tough book because she's had a hard childhood and she has to learn to love herself before she loves others. But you know, love conquers all. It triumphs, and in all of these books, these girls come out ahead in the long run. I write romance. You got to have a happy ever after.
There you go. So thank you again, and thank you for listening. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the Indie Beacon Show, produced by B. Allen Bourgeois for the Authors Marketing International, LLC. Copyright 2022. Voiceover by B. Allen Bourgeois. If you would like to be a sponsor of the show, please contact us at authorsmarketing@outlook.com. If you would like to be on this show, it is free to authors. Simply fill out the form at indiebeacon.com. The music is provided by Happy Follows. The music is entitled